Reviewer, and today I'm going to review a thing. Might be shocking to hear this, but if you haven't guessed already, Nickelodeon hasn't been really on its game lately. Oh, you already knew that? Alright, my fault. I don't know what it is about Nickelodeon nowadays, but they aren't like how they were back then. I've rambled about Nickelodeon on its shows and how the way it's run numerous of times, and so many people have done the exact same by giving their opinion on how they feel about the now Nickelodeon. In one word, it can be described as garbage. Technically. Don't get me wrong, Nickelodeon isn't that great nowadays with its shows and kinda even its TV movies, but they do have some good things here and there. Like that new cartoon, The Loud House, isn't as bad as people think. I saw the first couple of episodes of The Loud House and it's funny. I think it's a pretty genuine idea. The show follows the life of a boy named Lincoln Loud, who has to deal with his 10 sisters. And that's the show. It may not sound like it's anything big, but it's definitely better than anything else we've gotten in the past. Specifically with cartoons. Also, I've heard that Harvey Beaks is pretty good, though I've yet to see an episode, so I can't confirm that yet. But other than those two shows, Nickelodeon hasn't really been on its game lately. All their shows are nothing but crap, and really the only thing that's holding Nickelodeon up is SpongeBob. And I mean this in a not good way. I mean, it's literally being held by, like, not even a thread, like maybe a part of a string. Yeah, like that tiny piece of the string that, you know, you'd sometimes see, that's what it's being held on to by. It's kind of safe to say that really the only things that Nickelodeon has nowadays are reruns of new and old SpongeBob, but mostly new. For some reason also Alvin and the Chipmunks, which isn't even a US made show and was created in France, I've been hearing. And majority of Dan Schneider's shows, which is Game Shakers and Henry Danger now, and also sometimes the Thundermans, which isn't a Dan Schneider show, but it's a live action, you get my point. I've had my problems with Nickelodeon in the past. A while back I used to think that it just did not care about the kids. I felt that Nickelodeon was gonna put on what they wanted and they were gonna force the kids to watch it, mostly because they only cared about money. And I still kind of feel that way, technically. I feel like they're not listening to the kids as much rather than listening to the creators. A big example why I came to this conclusion was because of the show Pig, Goat, Banana, Cricket. It looked like a good idea. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. It's a metaphor. It looks like trash. And I'm serious. This stuff looks like garbage. I'm sure Pig, Goat, Banana, Cricket would look better if it was a different animation style. In fact, it's kind of got a good premise, seeing that it focuses on each one of the characters, but it just looks like utter vomit. And recently, Nickelodeon announced that this show is getting a second season. Exactly where is this in the guide? Where do we see Pig, Goat, Banana, Cricket on the TV guide for the Nickelodeon section lately? I haven't seen Pig, Goat, Banana, Cricket since it premiered. I find it funny that Nickelodeon releases all these new shows and then rarely shows them. Like, when's the last time we saw new Fairly Odd Parents? And that's really hard for me to say that because I don't want to see any more new Fairly Odd Parents. But the question still stands. You introduced this new character, Chloe, you put up 4 episodes and then you just stopped running it. What? How does that work? So if you can't tell, my main problem with Nickelodeon is their programming. Kind of. That's one part of my problem with Nickelodeon. There's more of a bigger problem that I've been seeing in Nickelodeon, which doesn't necessarily make me hate it, but it just really annoys me that they're doing this. For a while, I thought Nickelodeon's problem was the shows, and technically it is, but I feel that their bigger problem is trying to cope with this day's generation. What is the first thing that comes to mind when you hear 2016? If one of those things is social media or phones or anything on the internet, you'd be right. Something that Nickelodeon does that no other network seems to do is kind of keep up with these trends. Nickelodeon is the only channel that I've seen actually do memes. You know, like Damn Daniel or the What Are Those Things, you know, remember those things? that were never funny. You know? Nickelodeon mostly focuses on the internet rather than somewhat reality. Most of the times when they do promos for their new shows, or maybe even new episodes of shows, they'll kind of put them in an internet fashion way that will kind of be hip with today's young kids. And I just see that as a desperate move. I feel that Nickelodeon knows that they're not number one like they used to be. They probably know that their shows aren't as great as they used to be. They probably even know that SpongeBob isn't doing that well, but are just keeping it on the air because God knows why. So, I see this as their way is trying to get an audience back. Nickelodeon is desperately trying to reach out to these kids to show them they could be just like them, and it's not worth it. What Nickelodeon does with keeping up with these trends is useless, because the one thing you need to know about trends is they don't last very long. When's the last time you heard the damn Daniel thing? Remember when that was a thing? When was the last time that was relevant? Like a month ago? That's not relevant anymore, and Nickelodeon had a whole promo of Saturday night premieres of it. They turned Damn Daniel into Dang Whatever, and they started something with the D. It wasn't cool. It wasn't hip. It was pitiful. That's somewhat my main problem with Nickelodeon. I feel like they're trying way too hard, keeping up with today's youth, and it's really not needed. You don't need to keep up with trends to be an awesome channel. Cartoon Network doesn't go anywhere near that stuff, and that's why they're number one. Also because their shows are pretty funny and awesome, but they don't do anything with the internet. Really the only thing that comes close with them and the internet is when they're promoting a new game they put on their website or an app that they put up. Somewhat the same thing with Disney, or at least Disney XD. I haven't watched the Disney Channel in a while, but Disney XD, or maybe even Disney Channel, mostly just promote apps. They don't promote their shows as if they were, I don't know, in a text bubble, or if they were the newest trend on the internet. I should have kind of saw this coming though, because Nickelodeon does have a history with the internet, seeing that they made the Fred show and a game show based off of internet videos, and they basically took the Fine Brothers React series and made it into a television show. And you know what all those shows have in common? They all failed after a season. Webheads didn't even make a full season. They made like 6 episodes and that was it. It shows that that's obviously not what kids want to watch, and it can just go to show that, you know, there's a difference between television and the internet. That's how I felt for a while ever since the Fred show. I felt that some things just deserve to stay on the internet while other things deserve to stay on TV. I mean, there's nothing wrong with like maybe merging the two for maybe, I don't know, a day or something, but if you have a full network that is going to be a cross dimension of television and the internet, then you're just failing automatically. So that was my little ramble about Nickelodeon. I just felt like getting something out there, because this is somewhat an issue, you know? Yeah. What about you, though? How do you feel about Nickelodeon nowadays? Do you feel the same way like I do about Nickelodeon, that they're kind of trying too hard with all these internet trends? Do you think there is a difference between stuff being on the internet and stuff being on television? Do you agree or disagree with anything I said in this video? Tell me in the comments, and also leave me your suggestions for whatever movie, TV show, random thing you want me to talk about next. Thanks for watching The Wild Reviewer on The Wild Reviewer, and you just saw me review a thing.